Welcome to Reading Between the Lines.
Wait, shit. Do that. Wait, 1 second. Do that again.
Okay. Anyways, this is Reading Between the Lines. Today we are talking about Callie Hart's Quicksilver. Let's just say I binge read it in less than 24 hours. You binge read it over a weekend.
Yeah.
And let's just say, I would put this book, or this, it's a series, I would put it up in like top 5
Really?
series.
Okay,
But,
yeah.
like the main, but like we got like From Blood and Ash and ACOTAR, like top tier. Then we got Fourth Wing, Throne of Glass, and then I would put this one.
Okay.
Wait, now I'm questioning like I forgot one. I don't know. That's my rating.
It's hard to like rate series and books because I read other genres too. So I'm like, I really like other series, but like I really like romantasy series too, and there's like so many books that
Okay, you
I
can
just don't
rate
know.
romantasy.
Okay. That's yeah.
Yeah. So, quick synopsis about this book. So, also, if you haven't read Quicksilver, don't listen to this because there's going to be a lot of spoilers. And we warned you about this. We put out the book club post, like, so you've been forewarned. So, yeah, so quick synopsis and about this book, and I'm not gonna remember everything because I only remember the end per usual. But it's about this girl named Saris. Am I saying that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Saris. She is part of the third sector. Is that what it was? Tier? Sector? Something?
Something like that. I just thought of like the Hunger Games. Like it reminded me of like the districts in the Hunger Games.
Maybe it was the district. Whatever. Yes. So she's part of the third whatever district tier, whatever. And so she's like a street rat, basically, the best way to put it. And she has a brother named Hayden. And the story kind of starts with the two of them. Well, starts with her. Starts just like Powerless, where she tries to steal something to make money, basically, so that they can have food and water and stuff. And we get to kind of see her fight this guard, and you get to see like how badass she is from like chapter 1. And then we get to chapter 2 where I think this is chapter 2, or this is all chapter 1, where she finds her brother has gambled with this guy that I personally hated from the beginning. I kind of like him a little bit more, but I still don't know really how I feel about him. But he's a jerk, basically. And Saris is basically going to go fight ass. And that's kind of the setting. And we kind of follow her story as she gets caught, or her brother gets caught with this thing that she stole. And I can't remember what it was, but it was something.
It was like a gauntlet, like one of the soldiers
Yes.
wore.
From one of the soldiers, and it's property of the queen's. And Hayden, her brother, gets caught with it, and she takes the price for him so that he doesn't die. And instead of dying, she ends up going to the castle and meeting the queen. And wait, is her brother's name Hayden?
Yeah.
What's the soldier's name that we meet right away? The one that stabs her.
Hair, something like that.
Anyways, so she takes the price for her brother, and that's where the whole story starts. That's how she ends up at the castle, and that's how she ends up meeting Death. And goes through the Quicksilver and meets Kingfisher.
Yeah. Well, he rescues her.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Okay, what's his name? I need to figure this out, otherwise it's gonna drive me crazy. So I just set the scene very well, I would just like to say. Heron.
That's what I said.
I know, I was confirming. Relax.
No, I'm just saying. I can't believe I got that right.
No, I can't either. And no, I'm kidding. The other guy is Carrion.
Carrion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrion Swift.
Yes.
I just want to mention that when he first showed up, this might be very toxic of me, but I was like, okay.
Mm. Yeah, when you
No.
texted me that, I was like, no.
Okay, so I knew that he wasn't the MMC because I knew the MMC's name, right?
Mhm.
But when he showed up and she goes, doesn't she call him like asshole? And he calls her bitch, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm loving this dynamic.
And they had a past. They slept together
Exactly.
once.
Yeah.
And he kept bringing it up. And he was
Yeah.
like, so they were like bantering back and forth. The banter was bantering,
Yeah.
but we knew that he wasn't the MMC.
Yeah.
But I was like, I hate you. You're such an asshole. Like,
I thought he was funny. I
I
no
knew you
joke not
would.
that he was
I knew you
the
would.
whole the whole book, no matter what he did, I was just like he's the comedic relief because he's just so nonchalant.
Yeah. Yeah, he is the comedic relief. But what I love too is that Saris like didn't not care. Like she cared about her brother. That was it. Like she literally like went up to this guy and was like, I don't care that we have a history. I don't care, like whatever. Like you're mean. I don't like you. Move, like, and she like got stuff done. Like she
Yeah.
knew what she was doing. And I was like, I love her. Like as an FMC, I okay, she was kind of stupid a little bit, but all FMCs are. But I liked her a lot. She reminded me of Aelin.
That's what I was thinking, especially when she fought off the three guards by herself, and
Yeah.
like all of them were like, "Oh my God, she can't fight." Like obviously, whatever, but she literally took down all three of them and killed like it was like one or two of them,
Mm-hmm.
and I was
Yeah.
like, "I'm gonna like her," and that was like in the beginning of the book too.
Yeah. It was like the second chapter. And yeah. And I would like to say, obviously I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I had no idea. Like once she went to the castle and met the queen, like that's not what I was thinking was gonna happen. Like I was thinking it was gonna be some sort of like rebellion situation,
Same, same.
but and like Quicksilver, I was thinking was not gonna be what it was.
Yeah, same. I didn't know what it was, but I wasn't expecting that.
Well, I still don't even really understand what it is. Like it's like portals or whatever.
It's like is it like a certain metal? Like a magical metal? That's what I kind of took it as.
But there's pools of it too. Like that's where like I'm
That's
confused.
where the magic comes from.
I
Like
know.
melted down
And you can go
metal.
through them, right? Or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When we first like that wait, the queen, first of all, girl,
Girl.
you are the most bratty, annoying villain ever. And at the same time, I was like, because she's mortal, but she's immoral. And I was like, there's more to the story here.
Yeah, 100%. And she's kind of Saris is kind of like, yeah, like when no one knows how long like how she lives so long. And then she just like forgets about it. I'm like, isn't that something that people would want to know?
Right.
Especially in a land where like magic isn't really a thing, so it's not like a normal occurrence.
Right. Exactly. I was like, why are we more worried about this? But
Yeah.
whatever. But then I did think for a hot second that Heron
Mhm.
was going to be like there was going to be a little thing because of how he like because of the role that he played, like the general or whatever for her.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
queen. And
And the fact that he felt bad for her when she told him like how they were treated.
Yeah. But then he like got overcome by whatever and did what he had to do.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about that. Whatever chapter, it was like the fourth chapter. And she's almost dying already. I was like, wait, what is
I
happening?
know. She has like a sword in one side, a knife in the other. It's like, and she's fighting off him. I'm like, girl, you have 9 fucking lives.
No, it's so true. No, literally, I was like, she can't be killed off in like the fourth chapter, can she? Like,
Yeah.
no way. Ugh. Anyways, so then I'm not gonna remember this part, but she goes to the Quicksilver and she grabs a sword, right? And I don't
Yeah.
remember the sword's name.
It starts with an N. That's all I know.
That's what I remember. Starts with an N. And she grabs it to kill Heron because he's torturing her. And as she does that, there's something with Quicksilver and the sword, and you don't know what's going on because all of a sudden this man or whatever emerges from the Quicksilver or whatever and rescues her, and you're like, wait, what just happened? Okay.
Yeah.
And took her with him through the portal, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
No, when she said death came to take me away, I'm like, that is 100% the MMC. 100%, no doubt in my mind.
Yep. Yep. I was like, wait, is that like what is that what he is? Like like
Yeah.
is that his role? Um yeah. So then we get to she basically is like sick and like whatever in this Fey world, but you don't know it's the Fey world. And Everlane, that's how I said her name.
Same. Yeah.
Who's her?
Bruh. She is. I have mixed feelings about her
I
because
know.
she seems nice and genuine, but she also seems stupid.
I know. I know. That's what I thought. I'm like, you are the dumbest person ever.
Yeah.
And I knew right away. I knew as soon as she showed up, I was like, she's related to the MMC. I knew
That's
it.
interesting. I didn't know it right away when um Renfist came through the door, like when he was introduced into the book, and he was like he needs it, and she was like why or like whatever. Like that whole conversation, that's when I knew that they were related. They were,
Um,
and so it was pretty close like after like she's introduced, but I was like, and then the way she like talks about him, I was like, yeah, they're obviously siblings.
yeah. You could just tell kind of right away. And what was weird about like the whole beginning like was just so weird to me and confusing because then when they like went to the throne room or whatever and like that whole thing happened, I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. It's funny to me because you're gonna roll your eyes when I say this, but the chapter that's called The Dog, and then the next chapter after that is called like The Alchemist. Those are two, those are two Taylor Swift songs. She has a song called The Black Dog and Alchemy, and I literally just I was like, oh my God, it's giving Swiftie.
It's embarrassing to be your friend sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But you're a Swiftie and I'm not. So
Okay, but also what I was gonna say about the dog chapter, like when it was titled The Dog, I was like, this is when he truly comes in to the book. Like I just knew that he would be considered the dog. I don't know why, but
well, I was also like, why was he acting like that? Because
yeah,
that didn't get explained right away. And I'm like, what? What? Like, is he like a wild animal? Like, what is going on?
yeah, love that. No, because I'm pretty sure I texted you and I'm like, I hope like later in the book, Sarah's is the only one that can calm him down with when he's acting like this.
Yeah. Yep. You did text me that. And I was like, can't say anything. So, yeah. And I was so confused with the like thing around his neck and like whatever. I'm like, is he actually like a wild animal? Like,
Okay, I was assuming this to be like a chain, like a kind of short chain. It's a
yeah.
whole ass. It's like a long necklace, isn't it? Like a pendant. Like they were talking about how big the pendant was, and I'm pretty sure it like goes all the way down his stomach.
Like, I thought it was like just like a choker situation.
That's what I thought too, but I can't remember what scene it was, but it made me like rethink like how big is this necklace?
I'm looking it up right now.
Because wouldn't that be so inconvenient having to wear that giant ass thing?
OMG, you're so sweet.
I know.
Huh, interesting. Okay. Well, the more you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really weird to me. And like just the whole like they were talking like Saris wasn't there the whole time.
Yeah. And she was
Like,
just like,
well, she's like, I just need to get home. I just need okay. And
yeah.
also when she kept saying that, I'm like, just let it go. Like, let it
Honestly, if Hayden was with her and if that other dude was with her, that like father figure or whatever, she would probably stay like in the beginning. She probably wouldn't be as adamant of getting home.
well, but when they said that they were dead, or like when she found out they were dead, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, now let it go.
I knew they weren't dead. I was
No,
like, no way. I was like, how would you know that? If this
yeah,
portal has been closed, how would you know that? Like,
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I was just like,
but
okay.
also I love how so Everlane was trying to like sugarcoat everything, and Kingfisher's just like, here's the facts. You don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. We just have to do this thing and get it done with. Like, he was not messing around. He's like, I understand you want to go home. That's valid.
Yeah, he gave like Kieran vibes.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah.
And I kind of loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I'm like, I just love the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't remember like the timeline of everything. The one scene that I'm thinking about is when she made a pact or whatever, the blood oath with
Mm-hmm.
Fisher and
Yeah.
was like, you need to go get Hayden. And he came back with not Hayden. Was that before or after they had their first like interaction?
After.
Because they had a couple like because basically here's the thing. Kingfisher was just like, I need you to do this thing. Like we're doing this. And she
Mm-hmm.
was like, wait, what? What? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
And that was so confusing. Like, I was like, bro, like, calm down. Cause he was so like business. He was like, we need to get this
Yeah.
done, whatever. And he was like, okay.
Yeah. I just found it funny. Well, actually, okay, two things. First of all, when he put the Quicksilver in her hand and she's like, dude, what the fuck? And she's like, excuse me. And he's like, you can do it. And she's like, I am literally in so much pain. And he's like, nah, you got it. You go, girl.
No, literally, the way that he like trained her was just very much like, no, like you're gonna do it, which was kind of hilarious. But in like just like they're not even enemies to lovers, but they are enemies to lovers because of the way that he treated her. Like he's like,
Yeah.
you're human, you're breakable. I don't like you. You're weak. Like I don't want whatever. She's like, what the frick? Like,
Yeah.
like
Also,
you brought me here.
the amount of times, so if anyone has read like any romantasy, you know that phase, hearing, smell, eyesight, like it's all better, like so much better. But the amount of times they mention how you can sense someone's arousal is actually a little insane because it gets mentioned a lot, like a lot.
Listen,
And Miss Girl is just trying to daydream about this hot dude. Okay, we've all been there, and she can't be left alone in peace.
Listen, when the first time that he mentioned that to her, I was like,
Yeah.
we're done. We are
Mhm.
done. Like,
And that was even the worst of it because that was just him. But then his sister, no, when he came into her room to eat and his sister comes in, Evelyn comes in and she's like, "Why does it smell like a brothel in here?" And he was like, he just
and
takes
he
the
took the
blame.
blame for her.
Like, oh my God, I would not know a moment of peace. That would be so stressful. That'd be so stressful. If that
Listen,
was her.
I kind of loved it though, because
Yeah,
that's when he, like, because that's how he knew how she felt about him. Because even
yeah,
though she acted the way that she did towards him throughout most of the book, he knew that she, at the very least, was attracted to him, but like that there was feelings there.
yeah. And the moment when she climbed on top of him, because he's like, "You can do it if you want. Like, you can kiss me. Like, I'll just sit here. Like, do it." And so she did, and then she ends up climbing on top of him, and he was like, "Whoa, let's." Like I said, you can kiss me if we want to go that far, we can, but I'm not just gonna sit here anymore. And I'm like, oh my God.
Listen, we need to get to that scene, okay? Okay. Because I've just, okay. Was after, that scene was after he brought Kyrian in, right?
No, it was before because
Oh,
she climbs on top of him and steals the ring that she thought would help her get through the Quicksilver. And then after that scene, she goes down in the basement, finds the Quicksilver, tries to jump in, but he stops her.
yes. Okay. So, but also, is that the scene? Then that's, wait, there's also a scene that I wanted to talk about where she punches him. That's before.
That's before. That is
That's
such
the
a
first
good
one.
scene. That is
That,
such a good scene.
so, mm, so
That was
base,
right after he made her hold the Quicksilver.
yeah, right. So yeah, because she was in pain and she was like, I can't believe you made me do that. So she punches him. And he basically grabs her like a sack of potatoes and throws her over his shoulder and then throws her onto the bed and is like, whatever. I thought something was gonna happen there.
Yeah.
I'm
But
really
what he says,
he says bad human or whatever, and I was like,
yeah. And then he walks out, and his sister Everlane was like, "Why would you punch him? That's so dangerous." And Sarah's like, "I don't give a fuck."
no, she did not care. She could care less.
And
She,
then it's the fact he wore more armor the next day just because.
I know, and it's like Saris is like a human being. No
Yeah,
way like her punch could like affect him. Yet
yeah.
his anger from that was like top tier.
Yeah. Also, can we just talk about the fact that I love when an MMC throws an FMC over his shoulder? Like that whole moment, no matter the circumstance, no matter the scene, I love it.
No,
I love
literally.
it. 100%.
Yeah. So that scene happened. That scene will go down in history, I feel like. It
Yeah.
was so good. Um, and then and then the next day or the day after or something, he starts doing, he's like wanting her to find whatever, figure out the Quicksilver, whatever the heck they're doing. I don't really understand that whole thing. But basically, he says what Emma said, like you can kiss me or whatever. And I love, because like, okay, the escalation like was just like all of a sudden it went from like 0 to 100. I'm like, okay, girl, it's just
Okay,
like, okay, fine.
but I love that because a lot of times, like an FMC waits so long, and
Yeah.
it's like just go for it. Like, especially if it's a fae and like a human, like just freaking go for it. Like, why are you fighting this? And she did not. She fought it for maybe 3 days, and she was like, okay,
No,
that was enough
literally,
time.
it was like a slow burn, but like not a slow burn at the same time.
Yeah,
And so that scene happened. So she basically her senses like just went away. And
Hmm.
she just, they kissed, and then she just was in the moment and climbed on top of whatever she could feel his situation. And he just kind of let it happen. But she stole the ring, which, Miss Girl, good job, but also you're stupid because he would know.
He did know.
I know, but like when she did that, like when I like realized that that's what she did, I was like, you're so stupid, but also like amazing because now he's gonna come after you.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so when she ran, and I was like, there's no way that she's just gonna get away with it. Like, I didn't know if he was gonna stop her beforehand or like he was gonna go in after her and like bring her back. Like, I was like, he's coming after her no matter what, but
Yeah,
just what is the situation gonna be? And then he just appears out of nowhere in front of her. Love that.
yeah, and that's where the blood oath and gets drawn and whatever. And the thing that I loved about the blood oath is that he was like, you should have been more specific with your words.
And I knew that's what was gonna happen. I texted you. I'm like, when you make an oath like that, you have to be very, very specific. And I read what he said. I was like, wait a sec. I feel like there's room for some plot holes, some
Yeah,
different scenarios.
and there definitely was. And what I love too, and this is maybe weird, but she was like, do you need me to give you something to know who Hayden will be? And he was like, your blood will be enough. And the fact that he found Carrion because
Yeah,
loved once and he knew the smell or the scent or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. And the second he brought Carrion back, I was like, I cannot wait for a jealousy scene. I cannot wait for it. And then he made Carrion get like bathed in like this very extreme like mud or whatever stuff because he was like, I cannot, like, he does not want to smell Ceres on him.
Yeah, that was the best because I remember when when Carrion finally went to Sarah's after that, and she was like, "What? Like, where have you been? Like, what have you been doing?" He's like,
Yeah.
I think he said your boyfriend made me take a bath or something, and she was like,
Yeah.
"What?" And then she didn't realize why until later,
Yeah.
which that's the boy.
I
She's so stupid sometimes.
it's giving Feyre on the riddle. Like, I figured it out right away. I was like, Miss Girl, this is so obvious.
No, literally. Yeah. And so then basically just kind of from then on, well, there's like a couple more scenes where they're at the castle, but then Kingfisher's like, we're leaving. And that scene happens. So I kind of thought of that like from Blood and Ash when Hawk Castile took Poppy from the castle and they went through like the Blood Forest and all that. It kind of felt like that. And there was a lot of banter back and forth between the two of them. And then Carrion was also there, and Kingfisher just does not like Carrion at all. Like at all. Which I
Yeah.
kind of loved. And this whole time, also like I was waiting for the moment where we learned about Kingfisher's history because Renfis kept saying and Everlane kept saying, like, he's been gone for so long, like he's just not the same. And I'm like, well, then what was he like? Like, why is he not the same? Like,
Yeah.
what can we hello?
And it was strange how like some people saw him as this terrible terrible person, the worst ever, he should die. Others saw him as a hero and they wanted to praise him. And it's like,
Yeah.
what happened? Like, what?
No, I know. Okay, so you know how you were like, how you have this thing where you're like, I need to know what happened between Eris and Moore. Okay, this whole time while I was reading this book, I was like, what happened in Kingfisher's history? Like, where was he? Like, why? Like, I literally like,
Yeah.
because I read it. I read the first half like on a night or whatever, and then I read it the second half the second day. And so, like, literally going to bed, I was like, what? Like, I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about what the heck could he have done?
Yeah.
Like, did he kill millions of people? And like Saris was also trying to figure it out too. She's like, what did you do? Like, why? And he kept saying, I can't tell you. And I was like, oh, what?
Yeah.
And I was waiting for the moment where whatever that was going to break, and he was going to break down and tell her like a chapter 54 moment.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that because there was a chapter 54 moment.
Yeah.
Kind
I want to mention how am I the only one that thought Renfis and Everlane had a thing or like they liked each other?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because I
Yes.
was like, it's giving that like from the very first interaction, like the way they interacted with each other, and then later on in the book, like his reaction to her being taken, like I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm definitely sensing some vibes here.
Yes. Because just the way that they reacted to each other.
hmm Yeah. I also wanted to mention a theory that I'm gonna say now because so I don't forget, but I don't think Kingfisher is his actual name because he told a story about how people never know Faye's real name. It's very sacred. And also, people, I think it was, yeah, Lorith, in his song, he said the Kingfisher, like it's not a name, but a title. So I think that Kingfisher is not his real name. And I want to know what his real name is. And I'm hoping that eventually we'll find out. And like Ceres will find out, and like she'll be the only one who calls him that or knows it.
Yes. I was thinking the same thing because, okay, unpopular opinion, popular opinion, I don't know. I loved this book. There's no complaints except for this one. I didn't like his name. Like it's just
Me neither. I was like,
there's
it's too much.
no, like, and like sometimes they call him Fisher, but even then I don't like that. I'm like, I don't,
Yeah,
it's just it's like when I first read From Blood and Ash, I hated that her name was Poppy. I'm like, that name sucks. I
I
hate
didn't care. I liked that name. I that didn't bother me, but Kingfisher bothered. Like the name bothered me. I like when they called him Fisher. It was
yeah.
more. I liked it better. But when she just called him Kingfisher, I'm like, I don't know. I just felt weird
It
whenever
didn't
people called him that.
it didn't give like I don't know, like Grimshaw, they call him Grim, you know?
Yeah,
And like
yeah,
Rhysand is Reese. Like,
yeah. I just think like so. Everlane's dad, the King of Fae. He whenever he says like Kane Fisher or like whenever someone yells says that as like a title, like, oh my God, this is the Kane Fisher or this is Kane Fisher, that's one thing. But saying it in like an actual conversation, like when him and Sarah are having an actual conversation, she just says Kane Fisher. It's just, I don't know, it's weird.
yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't either. So I
But
think there might be a new name.
maybe he had like his name hasn't been revealed yet. And I kind of hope that's true.
Yeah. I feel like
But
it is.
yeah. Yeah. So going back to like I was just thinking about this. I'm like, what do we so when they were going through like to the war zones or whatever, and Renfis came to Saris and was like, you're having dinner with Kingfisher tonight, like just you. And she was like, wait, what?
It was giving Beauty and the Beast. It was giving
Dude,
Beauty and the Beast.
it was. It so was. And I was like, I am going to eat this up. This is gonna be so good.
Literally, and I told you this, but Renfis is like the candle from Beauty and the Beast, and the the other God, what's his name? The dude that cried a lot because he was like they're very emotional creatures.
The fire sprite or whatever, or spirit.
Yeah, yeah, the fire sprite. He was giving the clock because he was like, "Oh my God, you can't do this," blah blah. And Renfis is like, "I mean, I love it. I ship it. We're here for it."
What is it? Was his name Archer?
Yes, that's what it was.
Because I
Yes.
remember thinking at first like Archer from like Throne of Glass, and I was like, oh no. Like PTSD. Anyways, no, yeah, it did give Beauty and the Beast, and like the fact, dude, I knew the moment she sat, like, so the first time they were so far apart, right?
Mhm.
The second time when she sat on the right hand of him, I was like, she just basically declared herself like queen or whatever.
I did not think about that far. I was thinking of um okay, you haven't seen this, but Bridgerton, the Queen Charlotte story, there's a scene like just like that where they were like on opposite sides of tables and she's like, this is ridiculous. So she moves like her stuff over.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was kind of thinking of.
Oh, okay. I was like,
But
I
then
love
but
this.
then Archer's reaction be like, "Oh my God, like why are you sitting there?" I was like, "Oh, okay, so this is important." Like the
Yeah.
like he's letting her do whatever she wants. We love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It was good. Um, I don't think there's anything else we need to talk about that. But oh, the first time that the vampire shows up and that scene, I was like,
It was giving from Blood and Ash.
no, I know. And because he was so like worried about her. He was like, you can't be a part of this. And she was like, why? Like, it's, here's the thing about this book is it takes all of the books that we've read and combined it into one because all the scenes, like, it's, I don't know. It's from Blood and Ash, but it's A Court of Thorns and Roses, but it's Fourth Wing. Like, it's all of them combined.
Also, I love how we keep saying like this is this movie and this is this and whatever. But when they broke the ice for like to get like stop the vampires, literally the song from Frozen in the beginning when they're like hacking the ice, that was replaying in my head. That was the only thing I could think of.
I thought of Narnia.
Oh,
When the water is melting or the river is melting, that's what I thought of.
oh, oh, no, I was just the Frozen the song is just playing in my head while they're fighting for their lives.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's the
And you know
exact.
what song I'm talking about, right? It's in
Yes.
the beginning. Yeah.
It's all the guys and they're doing the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get to the first time that they are together because doesn't Kingfisher say that like she is staying in his tent or whatever? I was like,
Yeah.
here we go. I'm ready. Buckled
Yeah.
in. Let's do this. Go
Mm-hmm.
team.
Yes.
And
I just love how when they were going at it, she tells him in their mind, that's another thing, they can speak in each other's minds, but she tells him in his mind, like, bite me. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that because that's such a like a thing that doesn't really happen often, right? And she's like, bite me, and she keeps saying it, so he finally does, and I'm like, oh my God.
listen, listen. Okay, this is what I'm saying. I thought of From Blood and Ash
Same.
because the point was is he couldn't because once he tasted her blood or whatever, then all bets were off basically. Like
Yeah.
he wouldn't be able to forget her. And at this point, we didn't really know that they were mates. I mean, I guessed it,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't know if mates were in this series, even though it's Faye.
Same. Yeah.
But the moment that they spoke mind to mind, and then he was like, I can't because of the blood and whatever, I was like, so we're mates, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
also thought that like the moment they like could speak in each other's minds, I was like, they're 100% mates.
yeah. Did we miss this part or was this after or before? When she it was before. When they're in the war room or whatever and having the discussion, all of them, and the girl Danya, Danya, Dania,
I I thought of it as Dana. I'm not gonna lie.
Dana, she pissed me off. And when she did whatever she was doing and saying against Kingfisher, and when Saris broke the sword,
Yeah. Yeah, because she was gonna kill. She was like swinging to kill Fisher, and Cersei's like, "Nope."
listen, I loved that scene because I was like, yes, he's not your man yet, but you are fighting for your man. And that's when I think they both knew.
Yeah.
Like, that's when they knew.
But Fisher knew beforehand.
You get my point.
Yeah.
Kingfisher, which we'll get to, was like, I can't have you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so that happened. Their first time they were together was wild
Yeah.
and aggressive. And I was like, I low key
Oh yeah.
this.
I was like, damn, 0 to 10.
No, I know. I was like,
That's and it's so much different than other FMC and MMCs. Like I'm just like, okay, love that for you guys.
no, I was like, it's hot in here. And then when she got the ink on her hand, I was like, they're mates. I called it. I knew it.
I know.
I knew it. And when he
Hmm.
tried to play it off as whatever he tried to play it off as, I'm like,
Yeah.
you idiot.
And then she finds out, and he's like laid in bed, like with the raccoon, which the raccoon, no, it
Fox.
wasn't,
The
it was
fox.
a fox.
Onyx. Yeah.
The fox having being a pet is so funny. But he was sitting in bed, petting the fox, petting Onyx, and he was like smiling, so happy to see her. And she was like, "You dick, didn't tell me any of this." And he was like, so about that.
He like, okay, he cared, but he did not care. He was
Yeah.
like, okay, I messed up. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah, and then she like went one night without sleeping in the same bed as him, and then he's like, "We're not doing that again. We're always sleeping in the same bed." And then he took her to like the place that he grew or like his mom's from and he grew up. Like that was so cute.
Yeah, and they met, what's her name? Wendy. And she
Yeah.
was there, like, and she was like mother figure almost, or like sister kind
Yeah.
of. And how that she was talking to Sarah, so I'm like, this is like so sweet. Like, I feel like this could be like where they like end up, like
Yeah.
found family.
Yeah. And when he had a nightmare, literally, I was like, "Oh my God, it's a nightmare scene. Oh my God, everyone prepare themselves. Oh my." I was freaking out.
Listen, there have been many of nightmare scenes. This one, I think, might have to be number one.
Yes, because he was in pain, but she was there for him. And then, like, she started talking about her trauma while he was obviously going through some trauma, and it was a great bonding experience.
I love that. I want to get to, well, Everlane was taken, and at first I thought she betrayed them. That's what I
I
thought.
didn't. I didn't. I knew. I was like, her dad is 100% evil, which I thought from the beginning, just based on how he acted. But
Yeah,
after that, I'm like, he 100% betrayed her. But I thought it was stupid that she stayed with him and stayed in their house as long as she did.
yeah,
I
yeah,
definitely thought that.
yeah. Oh, we were talking about the nightmare scene. No,
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
was so
And the way that like after he like afterwards he was like come here and cuddle with me basically. Like
yeah, he
it was
wouldn't
like
let her
so
go.
sweet. Yeah, it was very sweet.
Yeah, yeah. And then when they were there, that's when they did it the second time, right? I don't
Uh
remember. But
they go back. I don't think they did it then, but they go wait. Yeah, they did because they wake up and she was like, I don't feel like talking is the right thing right now. Like that whole thing. That was crazy.
listen, the quote, I literally think about this like all the time. Okay. I can't even look at it without blushing. Nobody will ever fuck you the way I'm about to fuck you, Sarah Spain. I'm about to introduce you to all seven gods. When you meet them, don't forget to tell them I'm the one who you worship on your knees.
I freaked the fuck out when I read that. I freaked out. So I was like staring at it like, no way that just happened. I love it.
I read that quote and I had to stare up into the invisible audience, and I had to like take like 30 seconds to calm the racing in my heart. I was like, oh,
I whipped my phone out. I was like, Alexis, oh my god, this scene.
that scene, bro, that whole chapter was insane. Not that this is what it's about, because this is not
Yeah,
why
no.
I read.
No, but it was
Oh,
still really good.
that scene might be one of the best. Like Castile and Poppy are like top tier.
But then I want to talk about the next time they go there, they have like this was after their was it after their fight? I think it was after their fight, and after she found out that they were mates, he took her back there, and he had candles everywhere, and like that whole scene, like yeah, they did some freaky things, but it was really cute.
No, it was so sweet. And what I loved about it is that, like, this is what I love about all these books is that these men are known as these like warriors, like super tough, like scary villain, even. But when they're with their mate or their person, like they are soft and they are like who they actually are as a person.
And this is the morning after is literally the one time I cried in this book because he left that note. I was like, ain't no fucking way he did that.
Okay, listen, I might not get this right, but so you can correct me if I'm wrong. But the end of this book was an emotional roller coaster for me. I cried multiple times. Okay. When he when did he tell her the whole story about them being mates in his mom's book and stuff? Was that night?
Yeah.
Okay. So that whole story, I was a mess because the fact that his mother knew that she was going to be that Saris was going to come into their life or come into his life, and that his mother knew that she was going to be what Kingfisher needed. Like that was just so like it was chef's kiss. And the way that he was like, I never expected you to be human. Like and the way that she was described by his mother, he was like, there was one thing that was wrong. And I can't remember what that was. Was it her eyes?
It was her ears because she's not Fae.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. You're right. That, I don't know. There was just something about it that just made me very emotional because it was like he's being so real with her. And when he told her that he denied the bond, I cried.
No, for real. Because I'm like, did he actually deny it or is he just saying that? Like, is it like a no-go? Or
I literally got so emotional because I'm like, he denied the bond, so like they can't be mates. So like that's the end. Like, are they not going to be together? Like, I literally went into like an emotional roller coaster. So yeah, so that scene made me cry. And then when he left the note, that made me cry.
Yeah.
Because I was like, he basically just like confessed his love for her. She confessed her love for him. He explained all of the tattoos in the mating bond, and then he left.
Yeah. And he did accept the bond that night too. And she accepted it, right?
No,
When did she accept it? I can't remember.
she didn't. I don't think she accepted it until the very end when she was talking to the vampire, she said, "My mate."
True. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that whole thing happened. I was crying. And then all this action happens, and basically they're trying to figure out a way to save Kingfisher because of his whole thing with the Quicksilver and whatever. And Saris is just finding a way, and he's like, I can't be with you because there is no way because of the fact that I'm bound to it. And
And also the story of like all mates are destined to have like a terrible ending, basically.
Oh my gosh, we forgot like a very important part. Her nickname, Little OSHA.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the actual meaning behind it, I was like, okay, really?
Listen, I knew the moment that it got brought up, the butterflies got brought up because they're on the cover, and I knew. So the first time that it got brought up, I'm like, this is gonna come back. This is gonna be important. And so the fact that her nickname is Little OSHA, because I cried, because she is the most sacred thing to him. Most sacred is just, it's just so good. Like other nicknames don't have meanings. That one had a meaning.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. Anyways,
Mhm.
so they're trying to figure out everything for Kingfisher and trying to help him. He disappears. He goes to basically fight everything by himself, which made me so mad. I'm like, can you
Also,
not?
the Quicksilver is killing him too.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
another thing that she needs to save, like to save him from, not just the bad guys, but like the Quicksilver as well.
Yeah. And it just made me so mad that he went to go do it all by himself. And then we get to them trying to solve the problem. She's like, I'm going after him. And Renfist was like, okay, like, whatever, we're doing this. And Lorith was like, okay, whatever. And Carrie Ann was like, fine. And
I love how the whole time I was like, why is Carrion just going along with this? Like, he has no reason to. Well, now we know.
Yeah.
But I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Because he was usually like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And so when they went through the portal and they ended up at this, like, whatever it was, the amphitheater thing with all the vampires, and Kingfisher was right there in the middle, and Malcolm was there, and the queen and their father. I was like, oh. And when Malcolm was like, should we tell them? Like, should we tell her the true story? Like, should we tell her?
Okay, am I the only one that thought that was anticlimactic? When they're like, oh my god, he did this horrible thing. Like, oh my god, like, people hate him because of this one thing he did. And I was like, what is actually going on? And like, she already knew about like what he did, like when he burned like that village or whatever. And literally his reasoning was sound, honestly. Like, but I was like, what is going on? Like, why is this such a big deal? And I was like, it's not even that bad against him. Like, you're making it, like, the lead up was making it seem like he was such a horrible person. And then the story was like, he literally made the best decision he could at that time.
It wasn't anticlimactic. I just think that the lead up was too let up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What he did was bad, but the reason was sound. But they didn't know that. And so I think that's where it, I don't know,
And it's like the deal he made. Like, that was what they really wanted everyone to figure out. And it's like that's not on him. Like, what?
yeah. And yeah, so then they go through the labyrinth and they're just trying to get through. They're trying to find the coin, and that's where you find out that's where he's been for the past 102 years, is he's been trying to find this coin so that it lands in their favor.
Yeah.
And
No, it just had to land.
well, yes, but they wanted it to land in their favor.
Well, that didn't matter anymore because the war was over. Or like that part of the war was over.
I guess, but you knew they were gonna flip it whatever way they wanted to, the evil ones.
Well, yeah.
I also love how, or I no, I not love. The queen made me mad, and then when Malcolm kept calling Kingfisher my love, I was like,
that made me so freaking mad.
it's like, please stop right now.
Yeah. No, I hated that. I literally hated that. Also, the giant spider, anytime there's a giant spider, I think of Lord of the Rings.
True.
Literally, I think of that 100%.
It scared the crap out of me, and I was like, I don't like this. But yeah, they were fighting through the labyrinth and whatever. So that part made me like, I was excited and whatever. And then she gets the coin. Then Malcolm shows up. Started crying again because I'm like, she's dead.
You were way more emotional at the end of this book than I was. I was here for the vibes. I was loving the vibes. I was loving the action. Like, I didn't think anything bad was gonna happen, if I'm being so for real.
I was majorly invested. Like majorly invested.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like I loved the action, and I love the storyline, and that's as far as I got. Like, I wasn't like, oh my god, so many bad things are gonna happen. Like, I was just like, so what's next? Like,
no, I was emotional. In the whole thing, when Kingfisher was like, I'm gonna give her part of my soul. I was like, no, you idiot, do not do that. And then when I can't remember the other vampire's name, but basically he was like, do you want me to do it? Should I do it? Do you want me to do it? And he was like, he finally said, fine. I was like, ah. And then she goes up and talks to the god of change and chaos. And that whole thing happened. I was like,
no, but when his daughters were like, how good is Fisher? It's like,
no,
what?
that was funny. That was funny. I liked them. They were hilarious.
I just love how Sarah's went through this whole ass battle, basically died, whatever. The first thing they say to her was, so how's Kingfisher in bed? Like, give us the deeds. It's like,
I mean, fair. Fair. Anyways, yeah, so then she comes back and she's half fae, half vampire, and that's how it ends. And we don't get the next book until November.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. Oh, and they both accepted the bond, so they're mates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and she made that deal with the god, and so like Fisher is being cured right now.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the fact that she was supposed to be fae, but he like
messed with
it. Yeah. I wanted to mention how Carrion Swift is the king of fae.
Oh yeah.
I was like, back the fuck up.
When that got revealed, I was like,
that was probably the most jaw-dropping information in the whole book.
I was like, this whole time you've been acting like an idiot. Like,
but now it makes sense why he was so adamant on helping. I'm
excited to see how his story progresses.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I also want him to have like a romance with someone.
I do too. And people are saying that it's gonna be with well, because didn't he say something to Dana or whatever, and he was like, that makes me dick hard.
Yeah.
Love that. Anyways.
Maybe Dana's gonna be like a Nesta, like everyone hated her, and then we will find out more and be like,
maybe. Okay, would you rather have the first scene in the tent or the second scene with the mating bond, accepting that?
The second scene, I think. Because the candles, like, that's so romantic and that's so cute.
I guess I would have to agree. The thing that does me most is, well, the quotes are 10 out of 10. When he calls her little Osha, when we found out that the reason for that was because the story of the butterflies and how they mate and whatever, and how it's one of the most beautiful things that you can ever see. And it's because they're the most sacred thing. And so the reason that he calls her little Osha is because she's the most sacred thing to him. It was like,
I know.
It was just amazing. This was reading between the lines. This is a really quick overview of Quicksilver. Moving forward, we have some exciting episodes coming up. Actually, we are talking with Jaden about Onyx Storm, so get ready for that. We also are going to be talking to an author about a new book that is being published, which nobody knows about yet, but we are going to talk to her and talk about her new book. It's called The Storms We Inherit, so look forward to that. We are also doing another book club after this one. We're doing One Dark Window. I can't remember anything else.
We're doing the podcast.
Oh
on
yeah, we're
another
collaborating with another
podcast.
podcast, so look for that. We're also doing Bachelor season 1, so if you want to be a part of that, please look at our website. There's a form for you to fill out, and you can be a part of it. I think that's all. If I forgot something, you know where we are. You'll find us. That's all. Okay.
Okay.